Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Ray Dawg Ascencio, coming to you live from the Davison Hotel. Today I'm with Flint native, Michigan football legend, Flint Hall of Famer, and one-time New York Giant, and he's the current head coach of the Flint High School Jaguars, Mr. Andre Weathers. Dre, how you doing today? It's always good to see you, man. Before we get into my questions, man, I just want to know what you've been up to these days. What does a Tuesday in the middle of February consist of for a guy like Andre Weathers?
Tuesday in the middle of February?
Yeah, just a regular day.
Usually dealing with some type of kids, trying to help better some kids, taking care of my kids at home, working.
Working hard for the money, huh? Yeah. Donna Summer. That's good, man. Could you describe to us, growing up in Flint, what it was like youth sports, some of your early mentors? Who are some of the guys that, brought Andre Weathers up, kept him in line, good mentors?
I had a good foundation, a good family foundation, so my parents helped to keep me grounded. Growing up in Flint, I had a blast. A lot of support across the board. Was exposed to a lot of different sports, a lot of different things that helped develop me and make me who I am.
I think if I had your skill level, I would have had a blast too. I think we all would have. Now that brings us to Ann Arbor, okay? Mm-hmm. When you graduated from Flint Central High School in 1994, when you arrived in Ann Arbor, what was that experience like? Being on campus for the first time, school starting, and you're getting ready for your first game as a Michigan Wolverine wearing that winged helmet for the first time.
Very shocking, because I never knew that I was that good. I just played sports because I enjoyed it.
How did you not know you were that good? When people are good, they know. No. I know you don't boast about it, okay? I understand that. Very humble, not modest. But you know when you're good.
I have fun, and I consider myself playing with great individuals.
Yeah, I can go with that. Now, see, during your high school days, when guys like Steve Spurrier and Tom Osborne are in the audience looking at you and another offensive lineman, you're probably pretty good. That's just what I'm guessing. I don't know.
I never knew it.
Who were some of your toughest teammates at Michigan at the time?
You figure, I played with a lot. I played with the Glenn Steeles, the Charles Woodson.
That's always the first name that comes to my mind is Glenn. When I talk about tough guys, I'm talking about Allie. That's the first name that comes to my mind is Glenn Steele.
Yes.
We'll get to him in a little bit too when we talk about that Penn State game. But guys like Woodson, Marcus Ray, I know you were close to.
Adrian Taylor.
We will also get into Taylor a little bit later on too. Are you still in contact with those guys, Marcus Ray, any of them guys?
Yep. Yeah? Talk to Marcus Ray.
I see Marcus Ray on the Big Ten Network a lot, and he, obviously he's clean. He has to keep it clean on the air, but you can still see that David Boston in him. You know what I'm talking about.
Talk to him, and you'll really see it.
Yeah, Glenn Steele. He's one of those foxhole guys. The way that I look at him. A guy that you would get in a foxhole with.
Yes.
If I had to pick a non-military guy to go in a foxhole, it would probably be Glenn Steele.
Yes.
Because the way that they used to talk about, I don't know him personally like you do, but the way that they used to talk about him on TV, about his wrestling background, and a guy that doesn't play around.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails.
Tough as nails.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite players. Probably, next to you, he was probably my favorite player on that team. I loved the way that he played the game. Now, obviously, we're going to talk about the 97 season probably more than anything. Mm-hmm. But going back to 95, okay, you guys are 7-3. Ohio State's 10-0, okay? Eddie George, who eventually won a Heisman Trophy. They were favored to win the game. They weren't favored by much, but they were favored to win the game.
Yep.
95. I remember we lost to Michigan State that year. Nick Saban was coaching Michigan State.
Yep, at Michigan State.
What was it like seeing Tim Biakabatuka do what he was doing that day?
Well, the world doesn't believe, but we believe in that locker room. When you talk rivalries, you throw all records and every other thing out the door because it's a different dimension to the game. It's a different type of motivation. So you throw out records. We could be 0-9. When it comes to that game, it's an even match game. We believed in our capabilities, and we just went out and performed.
Now, I remember you told me this years ago. And I believed it too. You told me that rivalry is so intense. Mm-hmm. When you get off the bus at Ohio Stadium, even the police escort talks shit to all you guys. Your police escort.
It's an intense game from that week of practice, that preparation. You know, you'll see all type of conflict during practice between scout team players and first teamers. On your way to the stadium, mm-hmm. you see all these flags going as we drive down a row of houses with all these Ohio flags. And the closer you get, the more hungrier you get, the more upset you get. You feel a set of feelings that you never knew you had. And here I am, a young kid, because I'm still young, not really knowing.
Right.
But it's like, wow. But that was in Michigan Stadium, so let me go back. But it's just a different type of preparation all week. Coaches are different. Players are different. People you should prepare every game the same, but it's not the same.
It's not the same. You know, when Woody Hayes coached at Ohio State, they said that all 11 weeks during the regular season, Monday was preparing for Michigan, and then Tuesday is when they started preparing for who they were playing that week. Every Monday was a Michigan practice. That's how he prepared his teams for you. It worked sometimes for him, sometimes it didn't. Now in '96, basically had the same scenario. Mm-hmm. You guys had lost a couple games going into the Ohio State game, and they were 11-0 again. They were undefeated again at the Horseshoe. Describe that game. Do you remember a few details about that game?
Again, same thing. But that was the game we were down, and we came back in the second half. But again, it's that preparation. Throw out the records again. In that locker room, we never put our heads down because we were down. We always believed, no matter what. I mean, if you look at the story of the rivalry, the games are always close. I think there's very few blowouts in any of those games. So it just becomes one of those will battles.
Now, does Brian Greasy know that your high school head football coach and his father were teammates at Purdue and won a Rose Bowl together?
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No.
Well, obviously you knew Eufinger went to Purdue, but and obviously Bob Greasy went to Purdue, but they were on a Rose Bowl winning team together. Your head football coach and Brian Greasy's father, Bob Greasy, they won a Rose Bowl together. Now, '97. I'm gonna skip the Tim Dwight stuff. We're not even gonna talk about that.
That was in '97.
That was '97. Yes. That was the game that. He tried. Man, he really tried, and almost did. But my most memorable game that year, it wasn't the Washington. Well, Washington State was memorable too in the Rose Bowl, but I kind of felt like we were going to beat them anyway. The Ohio State game was obviously memorable. I'll get into that in a little bit. But the game that I remember the most that year was the Penn State game. They were rated number 2, and I believe
Judgment Day.
The
4 undefeated teams in the country played each other.
Yes, and we were number 8, I think. 8 or 9, 7, 8 or 9, some of them.
No.
But they were number 2. What were we ranked that year? Going into that game.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay.
All played each other because I think North Carolina played Florida State, and we played Penn State. Oh, and Nebraska was in there somewhere.
Nebraska was in the mix there somewhere. Yeah. Now, Glenn Steele, guy I talked about earlier. Now, this Penn State team going into that game was really, really good.
Yes.
Was it Curtis Enos? Curtis Enos was a running back. And I think Mike McQuarrie, the redhead, I think he was their quarterback. And I remember the first play of the game.
Glenn Steele sack.
That sack that Glenn Steele had.
Yep. Set the tone of the whole game.
Set the tone for the entire game. He literally engraved him into the ground.
Yes.
And I think Woodson had an offensive touchdown that game also. And then, now this is a play that you were involved in. The hit. Okay? The hit.
The hit. Yes.
Now, to my understanding, this is what I've heard. Adrian Taylor was one of those guys that you're not supposed to piss him off.
Nope.
Okay? No. Because if you do, something like that could happen.
Yes.
Now, I'm going to tell you the way that I seen it when I watched it live. Okay? I'll never forget this. was at my mom and dad's house, okay? Me, my father, and my sister Angela, we always watched the games together. Bob Stevenson was, like Dan's size, a little bit taller. Running down the sidelines, and all you see is him running down the sidelines. You see you, Marcus Ray, and whoever other guys are chasing him. You didn't see Taylor until the collision happened.
He came from about 20 yards down the field.
He hit him so hard. I've never seen two players get like knocked unconscious like that. Like both of them could have been seriously injured.
Yeah.
It looked like two trucks going 80 miles an hour and colliding with each other. And after a while, when Taylor was laying there, and Stevenson was basically like this. You hold your girlfriend, laying on the cot. That's the way he was holding it. But Stevenson was unconscious.
Yes.
And Taylor was, his head was moving, his fingers were moving, whatever. But I remember after that 15-minute delay or whatever it was, I remember telling my dad, I said, these guys just played their last football game, I think.
Yeah,
both of them.
They did. Even though I believe they were cleared to play, I think they both chose not to play.
And I'm glad that neither of them had a serious injury where it would affect their livelihood.
Yep.
Both of them, man. That was the when I talk about that hit, people, oh yeah, there you go talking your Homer stuff. You're a Michigan fan. And listen, you show me a collision that was more vicious, that had more impact on their lives, and then I'll recant
I'll
what I
tell you
said.
An interesting story about that. The other day, one of my players came in with their telephone, and they said, "Coach, look at this. He hit him real hard." I said, "No, he didn't." He said, "Yes, he did. Look, that's a good hit." He kept replaying it. I said, "No, let me show you a hit." And I pulled it up and I showed it to him. He went around the locker room showing everybody the hit and said,
and you were involved in that play. I
was on the other side.
On the field.
I was on the other side.
Well, you were one of the 11 out there.
Yes.
That's involved.
Yes.
I can't even. I wish. It sounded like a bomb going off when he hit it.
Well,
on TV.
It's bigger than just that hit. What that did for us that day is you have to look at where it was. It happened right in front of the Penn State bench. At that moment, you could see all the sails go out of it. They were done after that. They were like, oh my gosh. And it was one of those, Michigan comes in here meaning business. They weren't prepared for anything like that. That was, as hard as a hit as it was, and like I said, the two guys, they're okay, but weren't able to play again. But what that did for us that day is it elevated us as a team, as a unit.
That was like a defining
moment for that day. And Penn State understood at that moment, Michigan's coming in here to do some damage.
Well, that was the game where I actually legitimately felt that we could probably go undefeated all year. I thought we could beat Penn State anyway. According to Marcus Ray, okay, when he was walking off the field with his helmet off, you know how they talk to a player real quick?
Yep.
He said, I can't remember word for word, I don't want to misquote him. You can ask him this too. He said, listen, we came out with a game plan. We did what we said we was going to do. He said, we are Michigan. He said, they're Penn State. He said, need I say more? He said, you have anything else? And then he left.
Yeah.
And
classic Marcus Ray.
Yeah.
Classic Marcus Ray.
Now, here's a lot of things that people don't talk about. I talk about it. But during that season, I don't think people appreciate what it was that you did during that whole year. The value that you brought to the team. Because obviously we had probably the best defensive player that ever played college football, Woodson, okay? And after teams had gotten a clue that we got to ignore this guy. We're going to go at that guy, okay? And you basically told people, you can come here all you want. I ain't having it either. So you can attack me all you want, and they attacked you all year. You got all the business that year. Like Ufinger said in his Hall of Fame speech, you got all the business that year. And, we finished with the #1 defense in the country. And the Ohio State game, that was a big game, too. Ohio State was really good that year.
Yes.
It was #1 versus #4. We had ruined their undefeated seasons the previous 2 years.
Yep.
Now, supposedly, they're going to do it to us this time.
Yes.
They played a hell of a game.
Yep.
Woodson took a punt return back for a touchdown.
Yep.
And then you had the big pick six. that sealed the deal. 11-0, going to the Rose Bowl, playing for a national title.
Yep.
And I don't think people understand. Matter of fact, I met one of your fans in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Huh?
I'm an over the road. I drive over the road.
Yeah.
And I had a delivery in Lincoln, Nebraska. I've met some Nebraska Cornhusker fans when I worked at a bar in Arizona. Mm-hmm. They're all nice people. Their fans are like real nice people. They don't talk like bad about like rival school. They're like really, really nice. And the guy that I met in Lincoln
shouldn't have come to Ann Arbor in '97.
Well, you were his favorite player. We were talking because we were talking about '97 Nebraska, Michigan. Who do you think was better? Mm-hmm. And he really wouldn't like say who was better. He thought that both deserved to be co-champions.
Like we were.
And he said, "Yeah, man." He said, "Andre Weathers, man." He said that guy was a hell of a football player. And I could have very easily said, "Yeah, man. I went to high school with him. We played together." I didn't do that. I was just letting him talk. And he talked about you for a whole time. I thought that was kind of cool, actually. You were his favorite player. And then the Rose Bowl week, Snoop Dogg.
That was an interesting experience.
Tell us about Snoop Dogg.
Hey, it was one of those moments we were there, and we're sitting in the hotel, and all of a sudden Marcus Ray Woodson said, "Hey, let's go." So what you talking about? He said, "Let's go." Where are we going? Just come on. So we go.
Marcus Ray is saying this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we get in the car and we go, and all of a sudden, like, where are we going? We're going to Snoop's house. We're going to whose house? Snoop's house. So, it was just one of those interesting experiences that you go and we pull up and walk through the deal. We walk up to the door. We ring the doorbell. Someone comes to the door. Of course, it's not Snoop answering the door.
Right.
So we walk through the house, and it's always interesting to see.
You guys, the guy let you in. You guys walked in his house, and you hadn't seen Snoop yet.
No. We walked through the house to the back door.
Oh, okay.
We walked through the house to the back door, and all we see as we're going out the door, these two pit bulls coming around the corner.
Oh, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. He has dogs. So we don't walk out the door, and then somebody comes out. He had a little house, the dog house, so to speak, where he entertained. And somebody rolls out the door and says, "You're okay. Those are the nice dogs."
Those were okay.
So the dogs literally escort us to this dog house. And we go in, and Snoop's sitting there playing the video game with a Michigan jersey on. And he's just like the coolest guy ever in America,
That's back in a time that I would have loved to have met him back then, because he was a rapper back then. Murder was a case that they gave me rapper. Not all that singing that he does now.
That's that business side of it, but at the end of the day, he's a down-to-earth person that enjoys people just as much as you enjoy him. We had a blast at his house. Played basketball on his court. Shh, don't tell my coaches, we weren't supposed to.
Okay, I won't say anything. I won't say anything with Lloyd Carr and all those guys.
Yeah, we ended up playing basketball. After playing the video game, we went outside and started playing basketball on this Laker court at that time.
Okay, now you go to the New York Giants, okay? Mm-hmm. Describe what that first preseason game was like. The first time you set foot on the field and had to go out there and man up against somebody.
Well,
the
it's
National
one of those
Football
things people
League.
don't understand. Every game I played, I've started out the game nervous. Again, I played the game because it was fun. And when I got an opportunity to go to the NFL, it was great. But that's a different type of atmosphere. It's not like the college atmosphere. The NFL is a business. It's more like a job. So, again, I played the sport because it was fun. No more, no less. So stepping on the field in a preseason game, I had to realize real quick that the game is still fun. I'm not applying for a job, doing a live interview. I didn't want to try to put that undue stress on myself. I just wanted to say, whatever happens, happens. I'm going to go out here and give you what I have. So, in going out there, that was my mindset. But when I finally stepped on the field and I looked in the preseason game, I'm like, oh, wow, this is different. Because now you see all those guys you've been watching on TV. the Keyshawn Johnsons, the Randy Mosses, the Warwick Dunns, all these great players out here, and you're like, oh wow, I'm sitting out here with them. I've been watching them for a couple years on TV, and now I'm actually out here. So that creates a whole new set of nervousness. And
I can't even imagine. And then you had a pick six. Was that against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
Tampa Bay Buccaneers, yep.
Who was their quarterback?
Trent Dilfer.
Trent Dilfer.
Yes.
I remember seeing that on Sports Center that night.
They showed it on Sports Center?
They showed that on Sports Center.
I didn't know. I don't know.
NFL. You know we're saturated with NFL coverage all year on everything. Yeah, that was on there. Did you do a dance?
No, I didn't know what to do. It was
no
so
dance.
Short.
Not the electric slide or nothing.
No.
You do no cabbage patching.
I was just happy I scored. No, that was an interesting deal because on that game, during that week of practice, we had a dime package that, I'm a rookie. Yeah. I just barely made the team. I'm not thinking I'm going to play. So all of a sudden, we're in this dime package, and they say, Andre, hey, you're in the dime. So I'm the sixth DB to come in.
Okay.
Well, we're playing Tampa Bay. They have Warwick Dunn and Mike Allstott. I'm not thinking they're a passing team. Besides, I still haven't processed all this information. So, in practice, I'm coming out in this package, and we don't run it that much because that's like a 4 wide receiver package. So during the game, as the game comes, I'm still shocked because I'm in Tampa Bay Stadium. I'm looking at all of these big-time players out here, the Util Greens at this point, the receivers that I have to cover.
Yeah.
And I'm on the sideline, and game starts, and it's going, and all of a sudden I hear dime. My helmet's way over there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, that means something, but I don't remember what it means. So all of a sudden, you hear a coach yelling, dime, dime, dime. I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing something, I just don't know what. So at that moment, I'm like, oh, shucks. I have to go run and get my helmet and run out there. So I finally get out on the field, and the first thing our all-pro linebacker, Jesse Armstead, says to me is...
Jesse Armstead, yep.
You're not a rookie anymore. Time to perform. This is what the first words when I hit the field, this is what they say. And I'm like, oh, shucks. It just got serious again. So it was one of those things where, I'm out here now. I can't let my teammates down. I have to do what I have to do. So, the game goes on. I think I end up playing somewhere along the lines between 15 to 25 snaps that game, which, it seemed like a lot of snaps, which, what is it?
What is NFL speed like as opposed to college speed, though?
I'm not going to say the speed is necessarily different. What I will say, it gets a little more complex in what they do.
Okay.
In college, you have all these various packages, but they still do try to simplify it to help each player perform well. Well, when you get to the league, they don't care. It's your job to learn it, so you might have a defense. It might have 5 or 6 different checks in that one defense they call based off formation, backfield alignments, and then motions. So, first play, they call a play. I line up in my spot. It seems like they break the huddle, and then all of a sudden people start moving. Where you have to adjust and get to the check. So it's like, oh, man, am I doing this right? I don't know. So in that instance, the speed is different because they simplify in college, and in the league, it's just you have to learn it.
Okay, and now you come back to Flint, and you coached at a few places. Now you're the current head coach of the Flint High School Jaguars.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you're a part of what's called the Make an Impact Foundation. Mm-hmm. And you were able to raise a substantial amount of money
for us raise money, yep.
for the football team, amongst other things. And then, of course, clean water and all that stuff. Tell us a little about that.
The Make an Impact Foundation is helped us out tremendously in raising money, helping us. Right now, we're working on getting our weight room together. And they're helping us with that project and any other project.
I think that's great. I really do.
They've been instrumental. Jim Ananick, who probably does not want his name known, has been instrumental in
Jim's one of us. Of course we can mention his name. Him and Dale Gilmore. Those guys are one of us, man.
Yes. So
I love what Jim's doing too, man. But yeah, Dre, man, it was really nice talking to you, man. Always great bumping into you, man.
Appreciate it.
I wanted to say one more thing. Something that you might not know about Andre. He's a hell of a karaoke singer. So if you ever see him, ask him to sing Hall & Oates. You make my dreams come true. He's really good. All right, Dre, man. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming, man.